Welcome to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jenny Bellinger. Badass Direct Sales Mastery is a podcast for rockstar direct sales moms who are determined to make their business kick ass. Jenny will share her knowledge of effective sales and recruiting techniques, tips to get what you want from your business, and will interview direct sales professionals and leaders from various companies. The interviews will give insight to how these rock stars got to where they are and where they plan to grow in the future. And now, the direct sales dom, Jenny Bellinger.
Welcome back to another episode of Badass Direct Sales Mastery. I'm your host, your direct sales dom, Jenny Bellinger, helping you whip your business into shape. Now, today I have with me someone who was introduced to me by my friend Jenny Erickson. I met her on, I know you're going to be shocked, I met her on the Marketers Cruise. Oh my gosh. Now, she and I knew each other online, but we got to actually meet in person, hug, and be together on the Marketers Cruise 2 years in a row. And she said, because she's got this wonderful, beautiful British accent, I've got a friend back home I think you should meet. And as soon as she got off the ship, she introduced me to Gareth Davies. Now, Gareth and I had a conversation a few weeks ago. I invited him to be on the show because he's a former professional athlete whose unfortunately his career was ended abruptly due to an injury. He was a terrible employee working a job, so he ended up becoming a business owner multiple times. And he was introduced to network marketing 30 years ago, and he's been in the industry, in and out of the industry for 30 years. And now he is someone who started in the UK and has now moved to the Arctic Circle. So I would like to welcome to the show, Gareth Davies. Thank you for being here.
Oh, Jenny, thank you very much. What an introduction, reminding me of some of the stuff I've been through. It's really great to be here. Appreciate it.
I'm so glad to have you here because when you and I had the conversation, I loved learning your story. I loved learning about who you are, what you've done, but then especially the fact that you have been in the industry, in and out of the industry for 30 years. That's fantastic, right? Because obviously life happens. And the reason I brought you on for that is because not everybody has this perfect linear journey.
Well, I certainly haven't had. No, absolutely. It's been up and downs, some great times and some tough times. That comes with anything, though, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. So you started your professional career. You were a football player, a soccer player, as we call you here in the United States, playing soccer, playing professional, football for my European listeners. And so how did you first get introduced to network marketing?
Okay, well, I was a professional footballer, got injured, as you say, and got into coaching. I thought, okay, if I can't play, then I'm going to coach. And I got my badges, and I really loved coaching. And I got an opportunity to coach in the United States for a summer and run summer camps. So I went over there stayed in the soccer mecca of North Little Rock, Arkansas.
All my Americans are laughing their butts off right now.
Yeah, and I went back the next year, realized it was growing and decided actually to invest in an indoor soccer center in North Little Rock called Soccer USA or Soccer USA, as it was called. I ended up going to many different places coaching around the United States and stayed in Arkansas, went to live there for 18 months. And it was a real interesting time. I was flying back to the UK one Christmas and I thought it was busy. I had no time. What am I going to buy my mother? Oh, and I saw someone who was painting in a shopping mall,
Okay.
sketching. And I thought, oh, I'll have a sketch done. If my mother's going to like it, of course, she loves everything about me. And I thought I'd also take the weight off my knee because it was aching because I was out shopping, which is not my favorite thing.
Yeah.
I sat down, started talking to this woman, and her husband was a pastor. And he got introduced to network marketing by someone who was, 1,000 miles away somewhere else.
Okay.
And that was how I got started. I said, yeah, sure. Give me a call when I come back. I'm going to the UK tomorrow. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. Give me a call. They followed up, which is a really important thing to do.
Yes.
Yeah. And I ended up meeting this chap from oh gosh, I'm trying to think of where he was from, but he was a fantastic, fantastic guy. And a guy called Ted Brewer, bless his soul, he's passed on now.
Oh.
And Ted came down and visited me in Arkansas, and we got going with it. And I just thought, what amazing business! Here I am with this indoor soccer center that's got staff, premises, trying to get money in all the time. It was a new business. And then here was this other business I was shown where there was none of these costs,
Hmm.
and I got paid when I made a sale. When I made a sale. The company, which I realized that I was a member of, they didn't pay for anything until they made a sale, which was great.
Hmm.
They did all the, yeah. So I thought I just loved the model. As soon as I saw it, I thought, yeah, great. And I thought it was easy.
Yeah.
Whoa! I learned pretty quickly that it wasn't.
Right. I think a lot of people have that aha moment fairly quickly after they start get enrolled into a company for sure.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, this organization had an organization next to it, which is a pure training organization.
Mm.
The personal development, I must have been right at the right time in my life when I was ready for it, and I just soaked it up. And it was amazing, completely changed me as a person. And most of that came from reading books and hanging around really great people.
Right, exactly. So as you were going through all of that, so now at the time, you're running your business as the owner of a soccer field, a soccer organization, soccer training, soccer
Mhm.
games, all that fun stuff, probably all the accoutrement that also go with soccer, soccer balls,
Yeah,
cleats, all that fun stuff, uniforms, etc. I'm assuming that was all part of that. And
all of
then
it. Yeah.
here you are also doing this secondary side business,
Hmm.
right? When you went into it, it sounds like you went into it with the business mindset.
I absolutely saw how this could last forever. I understood that we were talking about residual sales, and if you had a good product,
Yeah.
then someone would buy this product month after month after month after month. And as you'd made the sale, you'd make a little bit for that each. I mean, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
It just made so much sense to me. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's a really key piece for people to understand, right? Is that when they're bringing people on, what mindset do they have around this opportunity, right? Is it,
Hmm.
oh, I'll give it a go, as you guys say in Europe, when you're in the US, I'll try, I'll
Hmm.
try it. Or is it, I see the vision, right? I see what's possible. Like, I may not know how to get there, but I see the possibilities, right? And I'm willing to run this like a business. Those are
Yeah.
two very different ways of showing up in the world. And not to say that people who start with the first one going, oh, I'll try, or I'll give it a
Hmm.
go is can transition through training, through conversations with leadership, moving into that business mindset, right?
Yeah.
Seeing that piece. Now, you're obviously not with that company anymore. What was it that ended up, having you drop out of that business? Like, what was the thing that got you to go, okay, this is not it, or I can't do this anymore? Let's share that
Yeah.
because obviously you're not in the same position you were 30 years ago.
Yeah, sure. Well, it's an incredible, incredible company. And as I said, they were aligned with another company, which was a development company, which I absolutely loved that. And the products were, like a lot of network marketing companies, the products were special. The products were different. The products were something you couldn't buy in the store. That made a lot of sense to me. We still, both myself and my wife, we still have a registration with that business. We still buy the products. Both have a few sales going through in the UK and not only in the States, but here in Norway as well. In
Yeah.
fact, that's how we met. I met my wife was through the training organization. I met her at the Leadership Development Conference.
Aw.
And yeah, so it's in our blood, if I guess now. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
you're still with that organization then, but it's not
well,
your
I guess
primary.
I'm still with it, but it's not my focus.
It's
But because
yeah.
when it's a company that produced really environmentally friendly cleaning product, nutrition product,
Gotcha.
and because I'm all about health, there are two products from that company, two product ranges, which every single house that I've ever owned, I put their products in because
Mm.
I'm concerned about my health. So there's a water filtration system in this house here in Norway, and you think, well, You really need a water filtration system in beautiful Norway? I tell you, when we changed this filter after 12 months, we took the white one to put back in, and we took the white one, which was now almost black, and took it out. And that's in Norway
Yeah.
because the pipes are 50 or 60-year-old pipes between the clean water going in and by the time it gets to tap. So, our bodies are 70% water.
Hmm.
We, we've got to put clean water in your body, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was one thing. And I've had a plant-based diet for 35 years since I got injured. That was a key moment for me. And I started to learn about how much nutrition we lose from depending on the way we cook something.
Yeah.
And so I bought some cookware, which was waterless cookware.
Ooh.
And every house I've been in around the world, we have waterless cookware in. So
That's so cool. That's fascinating to me because when you were first talking, I was like, I think I know a company that is, and then you kept talking about I'm like, I don't think I know what company that is. That's fascinating because I don't. Those do not sound like. So we're gonna have to talk after we stop recording here.
yeah, sure.
But
Absolutely. Well, I still get from time to time people ask me those questions, and I
yeah,
tell them about exactly these same products, and they go and buy these products, and guess what? That company still pays me.
yep, exactly. And I
Why
think
not?
that's and in this day and age, I think people are much more open to the fact that we can have multiple affiliations. And I use that term very specifically because, in some cases, yes, in this case, you are affiliated with that company, but you've already mentioned that's not your focus right now. You chosen a different focus to prioritize mostly. But from time to time, when you encounter somebody who could be helped by this other affiliation, there you go. Right. So I think there's a difference between affiliating with something and like choosing to run it like a business.
Yeah, I was told this great bit of advice that, you chase two rabbits, you're not going to catch either. And so I get it that you can't focus on two. I don't believe, well, I'm sure there's some people who do it around the world, but, they're tiny,
Not
tiny
many.
percentage. Yeah, not
Yeah.
many are successful at building two network marketing businesses at the same time. My advice would be not to do that. But there's no, as you said, there's no problem with affiliation
Yeah.
because they don't all have the same products.
Right. Exactly. And especially when you're coming from a position like yours where your interest is in overall health, right?
Absolutely.
The company that you're focusing on right now doesn't have the products that you just talked about, at least not
Hmm.
to my knowledge. They
No, they
don't.
don't.
And
No.
obviously they don't because you're still recommending that people use
Hmm.
these other things here. So I think that's fascinating. And by the way, you're allowed to talk about any of the companies by name if you want to. I am
All
company
right. Okay.
agnostic.
Okay.
Please feel it doesn't matter to me if you say it or not. It's up to you.
Yeah.
You
No,
can
no, I'm
decide.
really happy. I mean, it's because I learned so much through the Amway Corporation.
There you go.
That's where I was introduced to network marketing.
Yeah.
And the organization that ran alongside that, the development was a company called Network 21. Both amazing companies and doing a lot, obviously, yeah, for network marketing in general.
Right. Exactly. And
Yeah.
there's here in the US, there's people fall on one line or the other with Amway. There's nobody who's like, oh, Amway, they're okay. Like people either love it or hate it because they
Hmm.
either, were a part of the company, love it. Other people, they've just got a thing against network marketing and they blame Amway. But I agree. I think they are there's a reason why, if you go look at, there's a website that I follow and there's also an app that goes with it called Business for Home. And there's a
Okay.
reason why Amway has been number one for years. I mean, they are a top company, and I think it really does have to do with that training that they offer, right? They have the system locked in, right? They've got that done. But you have since added another one. So how did you get introduced to your new company?
Well, I went looking for something because I've done a number of other things in business, as you mentioned at the beginning, serial entrepreneur and different
Yeah.
types of businesses. I had quite a lot of fun doing that. Just 13 months ago, I thought, do you know what? I really want to get back into network marketing. But
Yeah.
as good as Amway's product is when it comes to Neutralite or NeutraWay, I could never fully get behind. This is a personal thing. It's a huge part of their multiple billion dollar business. So
Yeah.
it's a very, very successful for them. But for me personally, I can't get behind that because I don't believe you should, think about taking a pill when you can eat a broccoli or a potato or a banana or you know, whatever.
Yeah.
You eat the whole thing and get everything in the way that God put it together. Now, there may be some cases for taking supplementation, and I believe there is because of soil depletion.
Yeah.
But generally, it's not something I want to major on. So I would much rather. So I went out looking, and there was on a networking business networking online,
Yep.
and I saw there was someone from down south in Norway, in Kristiansand, which is I'm way up in the north, up near the Arctic, up in the Arctic Circle, and this
Okay.
is I don't know, maybe 1,000 miles further south.
Uh-huh.
And she told me about another company, a company called ASEA, and then she then started talking about the redox molecules and about the biotech and I just love that. I'm just ready to learn this stuff. I lapped it up. So for the past 13 months, I've really educated myself a lot on how the body works with and how it uses redox molecules and how one company has learned how to suspend these molecules outside the body, and we can actually take supplementation of them every day. And it's made a huge difference in my life well-being. And I would say, three things. If there was three things I had to say about what were these three things you should do to be healthy,
Uh-huh.
and that's one is clean water. I've already mentioned that. The food you put in your body 3 times a day for decades makes a difference
Yeah.
eventually, you know.
Yeah.
And if you can learn how to replenish your redox molecules, that is key as well.
That
There,
is
there you go.
fantastic. So now I got to ask the question because I've heard the terminology redox molecule because
Okay.
I've met people who are with ASEA. So I'm familiar with the terminology. And once upon a time, I had looked into it, but the what it is and how it serves the body has since left my brain. So, and for the people who are listening now, maybe they've never heard of ASEA. They're not familiar with redox molecules because frankly, until I met someone with ASEA, I had never heard of a redox molecule. What is it? And like what does it do in our bodies? Like how do we normally have them and why do we need to replenish them?
Okay. Great question. So redox is an amalgamation of reduction and oxidation.
Okay.
So redox molecules are responsible for maintaining the homeostasis, the balance in our cells.
Okay.
And we need it. We need those cells to be balanced to create energy in our mitochondria. It's where our energy comes from.
Yep.
And these molecules die down about 10% a decade after puberty. And you can
Okay.
see that when a young child cuts their finger, for instance, they cut their finger the next day, you can't see the mark. It's already healed because
Mm.
the cell signaling is working so well. The redox molecules are fully they're replenished.
Yeah.
Okay. You cut your finger when you're 50, you can be waiting 3 weeks before it stops weeping, even
Oh,
because
yeah.
our cell signals have died down. We don't get lines on our face when we're children. We get them as we get older.
Yeah, we do.
And and redox molecules are responsible for this, because they're dying down our cell signal. Our body doesn't work as well. So any nutrition we're putting in to the body is not as efficacious. It doesn't work as well as as our redox molecules die down. So if we can replenish these, which we do, myself and my wife, on a daily basis, morning and night, we take a drink which replenishes our redox molecules. That then has a cascade effect in the body as well.
Hmm.
So I could give you multiple stories even in the last 13 months of recovery from injury from people,
Yeah.
recovery from relief and recovery from lots of different things going on in the body.
Yeah.
And so we're super excited by it, by what we've learned, what we get from the products ourselves. And we say we also get paid as well as getting paid from a sale. We also get paid in goosebumps because we have stories coming in of people who, their lives have changed. We've already had several people say, my life has changed because of what you showed me with this product and what it's done for me.
Oh,
So
wow.
just today we met someone and I didn't, she named it. She said, I have fibromyalgia. Will this help me? And I said, well, I can't say for definite it'll help you, but tell me about the symptoms you have. She told me. I said, well, there's every chance. If you have cells in your body, there's actually there's no way that it can't help if
Right.
you have cells in your body. Just before she's even tried the product, we did a little test on her. In fact, we did a test with this brand new product called Gold, just come out in Europe today,
Oh,
about
wow.
3 hours ago. Came out in the United States on the 6th of February.
Okay.
And it is a targeted product for relief and recovery. So she
Mm.
got a great result. It works on 100% of people within 15 minutes, most, you know, and with her, it was about 2 or 3 minutes today. And she
Wow.
was waiting. She said, tell me when this is available. I want to buy it. And we've given her hope. That's what we've given her.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that you talked about not just getting paid in, money, but getting paid in goosebumps because I know right now, the people who are listening, the badass crew who are listening right now, they've had that experience with either for themselves or they've had a customer reach out and share what has happened. I think that's it's so brilliant. First of all, I love that terminology. I'm totally stealing it now.
That's fine.
But I will give credit where credit is due. I learned it from my new friend Gareth Davies. I don't just get paid in money, but I get paid in goosebumps because I know that sensation as a coach. Like I know what that's like when my clients come to me and say that they've increased their sales or they were just able to pay off their car or they were able to pay off their mortgage or their credit card debt or their student loans. Like I love that. Like,
Yes.
it's
Fantastic.
amazing, right? So I love that. But then the fact that you are not just trying to sell to everybody, but you're having conversations with individuals who have very specific issues and addressing their very specific pain points, right? That I think is such an important piece in knowing who you're selling to. Because, yes, you could, in theory, go out and say, if you have cells, this will help you,
Yeah.
which doesn't really narrow it down.
No.
That's like the chiropractor who says, you can refer me anybody with a spine.
Yeah.
My brain does not light up for that, right? As somebody in business who says, I want to help you grow, right? But I love
Just
that
not
you're
specific enough. Yeah.
no, it's not. And I think that's important because one of the other conversations you and I had was about the brilliance and wonderfulness of BNI, right? And
Yeah.
how we're able to do that. Because I literally was the keynote speaker at my chapter yesterday, and I told
Okay.
3 stories about 3 clients that I've helped in different ways to help light up the brains of the people in the room about who they might know and then refer to me.
Yeah.
And check this out. Now, those of you who are listening, you're going to have to go to YouTube and see this, okay? Because you're going to love this. If you are in any sort of networking group, how many of you would like to walk away with this many index cards? Now, I'm trying to cover people's contact information here because they did give me contact information, but they also wrote names of people that they want to refer to me from a 10-minute conversation because I got specific like you just did with that
Hmm.
wonderful lady that you were chatting with who had a very specific condition, which we will leave to be
Hmm.
what she named it to be.
Yeah. She named it. Yeah.
She named it, right? And so, and she had a result. And so now that's something that you can go out and say, hey, I would love to meet more people with that condition because I have something that can help,
Yeah.
right?
We had a very good day today. We met a couple of other people too,
Yeah.
and one of them was working in a car. Is where we bought our car. Actually, works at a Lexus dealership here, in
Okay.
and he's a golfer. He's a keen golfer. He's always gone down to Spain and golfing, and got a problem with his neck, got a problem with his finger, so
Mm-hmm.
joint pain.
Yeah.
Put some of this gold on. 5 minutes later, he's doing this with his hand instead of that's going to make a big difference. And the way I got him to do that was I said, "Would you like me to show you how you could lower your handicap?" Because all golfers want to lower their handicap.
See, once again, y'all, I hope you're paying attention to the person who's listening right now and going, why am I not selling as much? Are you speaking to the person's most like top of mind issue.
Hmm.
So you knew he was a golfer. What do golfers want? They want to lower their handicap. They want to play better. They want to get more holes in one. They want to get the ball on the green better. How do you do that? Well, you've got to have flexibility and strength in your hands, wrists, elbows, shoulders, back, and neck. Like all of that is,
Yeah. And one thing I'd like to say about this as well is that I love the science. I delved into it. I went and read. I mean, my science teacher,
oh,
biology,
look
would
at
never believe I read a book that thick, on redox molecules.
that. Right.
But you don't have to do that.
No.
So I say it's like electricity. You don't have to know how electricity works to get a light on. You just press the switch. So if you want better health, you just drink the drink, apply the gel. You'll get better health. You don't have to know the science if you don't want to.
Ah, I love that because so one of the behavioral assessments that I am a huge fan of is the DISC behavioral
Yeah,
assessment, right? Yeah, it
yeah,
sounds like you're also familiar, right?
yeah.
And oftentimes the C personality or the C behavioral style of DISC will get locked into needing to understand, and they think that everybody else also has to understand, right? And no, they don't, right?
Hmm.
I'm sure I've told this story before on the show at some point, but I'm going to say it again just in case. I've had people almost literally talk me out of buying from them because they're trying to share all the information. I'm like, I already said, here's my credit card, or send me the link, and they're still talking. And I'm like,
Yep.
the longer you talk, the less likely I am to buy. The more you talk, the less likely, and I've had to literally tell somebody, I need you to stop talking, grab the link, and send it to me. I want to buy what you are offering me. Shut up and let me buy.
Yeah. I
Because
mean,
you don't have to, I don't have to understand. I know based on what you've told me, I have the problem that thing solves and I want the outcome. And I'm willing to pay you for it. Here's my debit card. Here's my credit card. I will go buy it online. I don't have
absolutely.
to understand how it works. Now, I love the little bit that you gave us the Baskin Robbins pink spoon. I don't know if y'all have Baskin Robbins over in Europe, but here in the US, it's an ice cream shop and you can walk in and they have this little tiny pink spoon. And so if you're like,
Okay.
I want to try that ice cream before I buy a whole scoop, they'll give you
Okay.
just a little tiny taste. You gave us the little Baskin Robbins pink spoon of redox, just enough for us to understand this is something that all cells interact with. They all need it, and we're losing it throughout our lifetime. And so that's why we now have to supplement it because our bodies aren't making it. Our bodies aren't doing it. It has to be supplemented. There's nothing we can do outside of supplementation to bring that back.
Exactly.
But we don't have to understand how it works or why it does whatever, blah, 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 blah. In fact, most people don't want to understand. They just want to know that it works, or they want to
Exactly.
try it and
Yeah.
see that it works. Oh my gosh.
Another thing which I think is important, and again, a lot of almost all network marketing businesses that I know of offer this as well, is there's a 30-day money back guarantee on this stuff. I mean, what is there not to like? Why won't people try it? So that's been great for us too, making sure people understand that.
Yeah.
That yeah, you may be unsure. You may think, is this going to work? It might not work. What like, well, try for a month. If you don't think it's going to work, because we are so confident it will,
Yeah.
then then fine.
Yeah, exactly. We'll give you your money back if it doesn't work, if you don't like it, if
Yeah,
it's not a thing for you. That's fine. I
yeah,
think that's it. I think that's an important piece there is to be able that's I find that when someone isn't buying, it's because you have not helped them see the value, right?
yeah.
So they haven't seen the value and or they see the value, but they don't believe it yet. And that's where the money back guarantee, which almost every network marketing company I know has a money back guarantee for a
Sure.
physical product. I mean, I think they all do, right? And I say that for the benefit of the badass crew person who's listening right now, thinking,
Hmm.
do you talk about that enough to people who haven't made the decision? The ones who are on the fence who are like, well, I think I might want to buy it. There you go. That's how you answer that objection is
Yeah.
give it a go. Try it. If you don't like it, the company will give you your money back. Not me. The company will give you your money back.
And it's great that we pass a link on, of course, again, like most companies.
Yeah.
And so when the company does the work, they
Yeah.
it's a sayer who does the work, or it's whichever business you're with normally. But the other thing is, if there's anything that goes wrong, maybe some shipping happens, now and again that can happen. Shipping goes astray. The company takes care of it. They've got the people on board to take care of that. So we don't have to do that. I mean, where else can I start a business for
Mhm.
like $40 and immediately be able to sell a product in 36 countries around the world?
Not many. Not many.
It's
That's amazing.
So going back to our start of our conversation,
Yeah.
having this experience, I before the soccer company,
Mhm.
I had a school photography business. But it's the same thing. It's a building, it's staff, it's chasing money, it's capital investment, etc., etc. You don't have any of that stuff with network marketing.
Yeah. It is such a fantastic way. And, obviously a vast majority of the people who are listening to the show are already on board. They've already chosen a
Yeah.
company. They were introduced to a product and opportunity, and they're here because they want to learn more and they want to hear from people like you who are killing it in other companies. And what are you doing? And, they're walking away with these fabulous nuggets, but they may not have heard of the company before. And so they may reach out to you to have a further discussion, which reminds me, you are
Hmm.
offering something. Now, I want to bring this back to the forefront of everybody's mind. A former professional athlete, right? What is the
Hmm.
biggest sport in the world right now, y'all? Soccer/football,
Yeah.
right? It is one of the biggest sports. It is the biggest, top 3, top 2 sports in the world. I can't think of anything else that's bigger than soccer, that is more followed. So, professional athlete in soccer, you've had a very health-based life,
Yeah.
plant-based lifestyle for 30 years. And what you're offering to people, I think is absolutely brilliant. A health assessment, a health consultation with you, just to have a conversation to see how could they tweak their health, right? Tell us
Absolutely.
about
Yeah.
what that consultation looks like.
I love helping people with their health. It's not rocket science, actually, for most people.
Right.
Now and again, there's difficult things going on with people, but there's certain things we can all do, very, very simple things that we can do that I mentioned a couple of them, 3 of them earlier, but that will give us massive, massive benefits in the future.
Yeah.
The tough thing is that you do something right today, you won't get a benefit from that tomorrow.
Mm.
So that's probably the main thing I try and get over in wherever someone is. I try and help them to the next step in their health, because you've got one body. You're going to live in it for the rest of your life.
Hmm.
Look after it in the best way you can, because what you do today will compound through your life.
Yeah.
And we all know in networking about compounding, what we should do, and about how brilliant that is. But I don't know if you're familiar with you probably are, with The Slight Edge,
Yes.
Jeff Olson's book.
Hmm.
It goes this way, but it also goes this way.
Yeah. And that's what happens
Yeah.
with a lot of people's health, for sure. And for those of
Yes.
you who are listening on a podcast, not watching YouTube, when he was saying you can either go up, or his hand was, or you can go down. And unfortunately, and especially what we've seen here, in the United States, has been the health crisis that we have here, because the choices that people have been making for literally their entire lives has led
Yes.
to where
Yeah.
they are now, right? Those are choices that they made. And so that consultation with you is going to be phenomenal, because it's like, what are the few things you could implement now that take your compounding effect from going down and moving it to where it's going up, improving your health over time, making those little choices. And it's going to be a customized one, because it's going to depend on who you are, right?
Absolutely. I mean, there are a lot of people in this world
Hmm.
are overweight, for instance, to pick one
Yeah.
thing. There is one thing that I will share with people
Yeah.
about that if they learned that for, more than 90% of people, if they learned that's pretty simple, then it is impossible to put weight on.
All right. Don't share it here because if they want to know what it is, they need to book a session with you. So if you're sitting here going, wait, there's one thing I can do that will keep me from putting weight on, we put the link to schedule directly onto Gareth's calendar in the show notes. So all you have to do is go into the episode notes for if you're watching on YouTube, just scroll down. There's this description under the video, and there's the link. For those of you who are listening on a podcast app, grab your phone as long as you're not driving, click on today's episode, scroll under Gareth's picture, and you will see the show notes or episode notes, depending on the app that you're in, and grab that link and put yourself on his calendar so that you can find out what the one thing is that will keep you from putting on more weight. Because that's pretty powerful right there. Oh my God, I love it. I love it so much. Well, Gareth, I want to continue talking to you, but we are out of time today because you got things to do. I got things to do. Actually, it's like practically midnight where you are. So thank you for joining us so late in your day. I so appreciate this conversation. This has been phenomenal. Thank you, Gareth.
I appreciate the chance to be on here. The Badass Direct Sales Mastery is a great podcast, and really happy and appreciate being given the chance to talk to your audience.
Absolutely. I so appreciate you. This has been fantastic. I love your experience, and we had some really golden nuggets here, guys. So I hope you favorite this episode and come back and listen to it again, because the next time you listen to it, you're going to hear different things and new things are going to, hit your brain, and you're going to go, oh, yeah, I missed that the first time around. I should do that. Or, oh, yeah, I did hear that the first time around, but I didn't do anything with it. I should do that. Listen to this again. This was phenomenal. So thank you so much for being here, Gareth. Again, I appreciate you. And Badass Crew, you know how this goes. Stay tuned because there's another badass episode on its way.
Thanks for listening to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jenny Bellinger. Why are you waiting to go to badassdirectsalesmastery.com? Don't make the dom get her whip. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to share it with another rock star that you know in direct sales after you subscribe to the podcast so you won't miss any future episodes. You can also check out the show notes for links and any contact information mentioned in today's episode. We'll see you next time.